Decisions decide destiny. I've also taught you in this house that every decision, good or bad, is connected to a consequence. The word consequence simply means a corresponding outcome. You may want to write that if you're interested. The word consequence means a corresponding outcome. So that every decision in life, in destiny, spiritually, financially, maritally, educationally and otherwise, is connected to a consequence. Now, you are given the power to choose, but you do not choose the consequences that follow. Every decision by default is connected to a consequence. Are we together? Now, you cannot say, I want to choose this, I want to make this choice, but this is the consequence I want. Unfortunately, no. The decisions themselves decide the consequences that follow. One of the ways you are trained to choose wisely is to examine, either through the lens of experience or the lens of the word, the consequences connected to every decision. This is one of the powerful things with the word of God. It is not only a capture of promises. The Bible is not just a compendium of promises. It is a compendium of corresponding consequences. Most people focus on the promises. Are we together? But they do not know that the Bible is also a rich capture of consequences. That if you decide to go left, God will respect it. But with going left, there are corresponding consequences, and that they have an implication on your life and they have an implication on your children. If you decide to go right, there are consequences. Either ways, if you decide to be spiritually vibrant, there are consequences. You decide to pray, there are consequences. You decide to be prayerless, there are consequences. You decide to be a giver, there are consequences. Are we together? If you decide to be diligent, there are consequences. You decide to be a crook, there are consequences. And let me tell you the truth, some of those consequences are not immediately obvious. Now, this is what beguiles people to downplay the power of choices, because for most of the decisions, the consequences are not immediate. Most of the choices, the consequences are not immediate. If you put your hand in fire, the consequence is immediate. You feel it immediately, and so you withdraw your hand. Are we together? You put your hand over cold ice, you feel it immediately. But there are certain consequences that may take months, may take years, may even take decades. But as surely as the Lord lives, there are consequences. And if not intercepted by the mercy of God or another choice, those consequences will follow you. I'm sad to say this, and I hate to say it, but I have to. There are people today in old age. Their trouble did not start when they were old. The entire days, their old age was spent receiving consequences like loads. And just when they are trying to manage one, another one comes and they say, where did this come from? Oh, it's a final parcel called your consequence, arriving from 25 years ago of your decisions. Finally landed. Unfortunately, it landed and is resting on an old man. Many people go to their graves today in regret. There are some who live smiling. I've seen a few who transited smiling, knowing that they made wise choices, even if not all through their days, that their final moments were full of wise choices. But there are others who left in pain. You could feel the energy of pain and regret, wishing if they could go back again and make that decision. Ladies and gentlemen, victory is by choice. Life is by choice. A great destiny is by choice. Failure is also by choice. It's very uncomfortable to admit this, because sometimes you hear people say life is not fair, and they mean because of their condition, and in many regards they are right. But unfortunately, everyone is presented with a reality that has nothing to do with you. But from the time you are aware of that reality, what you make out of it now becomes your issue. It may not be your fault that you were born from an irresponsible family, unfortunately, and with all due respect, by an irresponsible man or an irresponsible woman. It may not be your fault that you were born and dedicated to idols, carrying crosses and yokes. It may not be your fault that you were a child of a traditional worshiper. It may not be your fault, but from the day you have access to the gospel, everything that becomes of your destiny is your choice. Yes, sir, it's your choice. It's your choice. It's your choice. Listening to Dr.